Regional Director of the LA office, the Federal Trade Commission of the Federal Trade Commission Los Angeles. We are the nation's consumer protection agency. Our mission is to stop unfair, deceptive, and fraudulent practices in the marketplace. We conduct investigations, we sue companies and individuals that are breaking the law, and we try to get money back to consumers. But we also try to alert the public and businesses about the scams we're seeing out in the marketplace, as well as educate them about their rights and responsibilities. And so as regional director of the LA office, what I do is I work with case teams on their investigations and court cases against scammers and fraudulent companies. But I also try to connect with the public and individuals like the members of the AARP network to provide them with fraud prevention tips and ask that they spread those and pass those on to their friends and families during this holiday season, but always really to help others avoid frauds and scams.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maricela. And I see people are still going to be coming in, so I may introduce us a couple of times as people come in. I'm Patricia Perez, and I serve as AARP California State President Emeritus. And joining us today is Maricela Segura, who's a regional director for the FTC's Western Regional Office in Los Angeles. All right, before I start the conversation, Maricela, I want to have a quick pulse on people joining us today. And we usually ask a poll. We start with a poll. And this is a simple one, a yes or no. I want to know if you have been a victim or know of someone who has been a victim of a fraud or a scam. Please let us know if you have been a victim or know somebody who has been a victim of a fraud or a scam. We're all in this together, I mentioned, and scammers, are getting so savvy, nothing to be ashamed of. So please let us know. And I see the numbers coming in. So please just simple yes or no. Either you have been a victim or know somebody who has been a victim of a fraud or a scam. And let's see, I know that people have voted. And the results are in. Just a little more than 50%, more than half of our audience either has been or knows of somebody who has been. So, I mean, that says a lot, that says a lot. Okay, so let me close this out. All right. And I mentioned, thank you so much for joining us. We have an expert with us today. So take advantage that she's here with us to ask questions. Just type them in the comments or the chat that you have, and we'll go through as many questions as possible. This is just a dialogue, a little charlita between us. So please, ask away. And while we welcome that you have your little, pencils and pens ready to take notes, this session is being recorded. So you can watch it later if there's anything that you missed. So wonderful that you're taking notes. Maricela is going to be sharing a lot of, sites and phone numbers, but please, if there's anything you missed, you can watch this video later. So let's start the conversation. Maricela, here's something that is kind of interesting for me, is that I'm hearing a lot about artificial intelligence and how truly transformative it is for everything that we do. How can AI be used by scammers?
Well, I mean, AI is a very powerful tool that can help people in their business, in their lives, but it can also be used to mimic. I mean, one of the ways it can be used by scammers is to mimic people, their voices, their images, and also businesses. And so what we're telling the public, and this has been happening for a long time. So you think about those family scams where someone calls you pretending to be maybe a nephew, maybe not a really close family member, but someone in your family, like a nephew or a cousin, says they're in trouble and they need some money. And so they want you to go to Western Union and wire money to this individual, this phone number. Well, you just think about how AI and voice cloning could be used in that scenario. It can make someone sound like a family member, or they can generate, if they, do a Zoom call. They might be able to generate an image of a person. So what we're telling people is the usual fraud tips. Instead of rushing out and sending money to someone who calls you out of the blue, asking for money right away in an emergency, take a beat, ask the person for a callback number, and call if it's someone purporting to be a family member. Call people you know to try to find out what the status is with that family member. Usually when you say, just a minute, can I get a callback number? They'll hang up right away because scammers don't want to spend the time trying to convince you that they're real. They're just going to move on to the next person. So, this era of AI where voice cloning and image replicating is very scary. But if you just remember the fraud tips, just take a beat, don't act on pressure, and do a little research, you can help protect yourself.
The other thing is that this wasn't about AI, but it was just about the scammers who call you and pretend like I'm Jimmy, your grandson, calling from jail. You're my one call, right? And it was interesting because they said that one way to, kind of protect yourself is to think of a code word or a code number and share it with your family, just like key. So that way, like what is the code? And if they don't have it, you know that they're just scamming you. But I mean, what a crazy time we live in that we have to, do that with our own family, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's really scary. I mean, the same thing happened to my father, and he's older man and didn't really have a presence on Facebook. How they got his cell phone number, I have no idea to this day. And I do this work for a living. I don't know, but someone called pretending to be his nephew, and he believed it.
Yeah. My mother-in-law, yeah, she was called by her grandson, Jimmy, right? And that's how I thought. And we asked her, and then thankfully she called, my husband and said, Jimmy needs help. And my dad, her son goes like, who's Jimmy, right? But yeah,
That is the top advice. Talk to
Yeah.
people you know. Don't rush out. My father actually did rush out and wire money, but then called me and we were able to undo the transaction. So,
oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, I tell you. And now imagine if you get a phone call or a video message and it's somebody that you do know or that you recognize a voice, that must be heartbreaking. So absolutely, like Marisela said, ask for a number, to call back, verify with other people, with other family members to see if this is real. And another one is maybe set up a code or some sort of, password that you just share within the family. And if they know the password, I mean, that's the way that you know it's real. Maricela, right now we're going into the season, right? We're, Halloween, but immediately after we launch into the season of Thanksgiving and, and the holidays and, being grateful and giving, what are the top holiday scams that we should be aware of, especially during this season?
well, yes, thank you for asking about those. Online shopping scams are always around, but when people are shopping online, they're going to be more prevalent, or we're just going to be shopping more. So what we're telling folks is to look at offers with a critical eye. Sometimes you might see a website selling a popular item or a luxury good that's usually rarely, if ever, discounted, right? But you see it on the website, it's being advertised for 80% off its usual price. That's often a flag that what you're looking at is a fraudulent website. It might be a website that pulled pictures of actual luxury goods off of other websites and is just posting them as if they're for sale. They might not be for sale at all. Or it may just be a counterfeit, but it's like posing as if it's the real deal. When you see this, don't just jump in and purchase the item. Do a little research. So here's one way you can do research. If it's a particular retailer that you're not familiar with, you can search the name of that retailer along with the words complaint, scam, fraud. See what other people are saying about it. Chances are that if it is a scam, other people have seen this or experienced it and have already reported it. You could even search the product itself along with the price, complaint, fraud, scam. chances are, if it's a luxury good that someone's purporting to sell for very little money, it's a scam and someone's already reported it. You know, these luxury handbags or these, you know, shoes or purses, whatever they are, they might have reported it's a scam. You could also look at the, if it's purporting to be from an actual like store, a legitimate store that you know, like Macy's. Let's say you got a text about some sale on some item from Macy's. Don't click that link at all. Go to the seller's website and, you know, try to find the deal that way. Go to the trusted website you know. For websites that are spoofed, what you want to do is look in that address bar too, up on the URL. Look for misspellings. A lot of times if it's a fake website, it's going to be misspelled in some way. It's not going to be like target.com. It'll have some other letters involved and some other symbols. It's not going to be target.com. There also might be multiple endings in the website name. So for instance, taking target.com, you're only going to have one .com. But if it's a spoof website, it might say target, the name's going to be longer. It'll say target.com/store/buy.target.org. So the ending is actually .org, it's not .com. Legitimate websites only have one ending, not two endings embedded, you know, in the name. So that's often a tip off that this is a fake website. And then what you'll see is the address bar. You'll see if it's a legitimate players usually have secure websites. The website address will start with HTTPS, showing that it's secure, or it'll have what's called an SSL symbol. It's a padlock next to the name showing that it's a secure website. Another tip, if the seller asks you to pay with a gift card, a money transfer like MoneyGram or TransUnion, cryptocurrency, or payment app like Zelle, Venmo, stop. That's usually a scam if they're asking you to pay in these ways, and if they're asking you to pay in ways that are other than credit card and debit card. Now, I want to make a distinction between sellers when you're in person, say like you're at the farmer's market or at a crafts fair, and you're there looking at some items and they say, pay me via Zelle or Venmo. That's a different situation. You're there in person, you're seeing the item, you're talking to the vendor. And that's a lot safer. You can send your Zelle or Venmo because you're taking the item away, you see what it is. I'm talking about those scenarios where you're on a website and they're asking you to pay by Zelle or Venmo, or you're on the phone. They say, call this number to order this item, and you're on the phone with somebody and you don't know this person and they're telling you to pay by Zelle or Venmo. Legitimate vendors or companies are going to allow you to pay by credit card and debit card. And I'll just say now, credit card and debit card come with protections because you're able to dispute those charges. That's why scammers like to make you pay in money transfers like MoneyGram, TransUnion, gift cards, or through like payment apps like Zelle and Venmo, because the money goes right away. You can dispute it, but more than likely it's gone. Whereas credit cards, you have a dispute period. Debit cards, you have a dispute period. And a lot of times, if you catch it in time, the bank will make you whole. You can dispute the charge is fraudulent. Another flavor of kind of holiday scam are these fake shipping notification emails and text messages. I don't know if you've gotten those, Patricia. I get them all the time.
I do get them. That UPS package, absolutely.
And they come often by text, sometimes by email. They're going to send these bogus emails or texts, and it says maybe that you missed a delivery attempt. Click here to schedule delivery. Or it could say your item is ready to ship, but you need to update your shipping. So click here to update your shipping preferences. The tip, do not click. If it's coming to you out of the blue, do not click. If, you know, these messages are trying to create this sense of urgency and make you act by clicking right away. But what it does is it'll take you to a fraudulent website that'll try to steal your information or your payment details. Somehow they'll ask you to put in your payment detail for the order, even though maybe you've already paid. So they create urgency. They want you to click and act right away. Don't do it. What we want you to do, if you think it's legitimate, you want to go to the shipper's actual website. So if it's FedEx, go to the FedEx website, or you know, if you think it might relate to a purchase you've made, you know, go and go to the retailer's website where you've made a purchase and find out the status of the delivery. Oftentimes when we make a purchase online, we'll get an email that will confirm that we made the purchase, and embedded in that email will be the tracking number for your shipment. Or you'll get a follow-up email saying your item is shipped, track it here. Go to those websites, go to the seller website. If you got it from Amazon, go to Amazon and figure out what the status of your package is. Don't click the link that comes to you out of the blue in text. They're just all over the place now. A lot of us are getting them sometimes multiple times a day. It's better to go to a seller's trusted website or go to FedEx to try to track the package.
All right. Well, let me stop you for 1 second because you just gave us like 15 tips right there, which is wonderful. But some key ones. One is that if you receive, an email or anything, look at any misspellings, right? And the domain and the email address, even though it sounds like it's from a legit store, check, because there's always a little bit of a change there, right? Because anyway, that's the way it is. If you receive some sort of an email, a text, try not to click on those links. Instead, maybe go directly to the site, Google, go back, to Macy's, go to whatever, go to their site to verify that it is a legit offer, that it's a true opportunity directly from the vendor and not just something. And just be careful with the payments that they request. If they ask for credit cards, if they ask for immediate transfers, right? Immediate payments. So try to use your credit card. And you said also your debit? Your debit or your credit card, because there's some a dispute period that you can make an arrangement with a bank if there really is a challenge there. But try not to do these immediate transfer, right? These wire transfer, and just be careful of anything that comes that you're not expecting. If it's a limited time offer, if it sounds too good to be true, if it's tracking a shipment, just double check.
Double check. Take a minute before you give over any personal information or before you give over any payment information, even your credit card. You don't want to get stuck in a scam and having to dispute something after the fact. It's better if something like you said, just doubling down, looks too good to be true or comes to you out of the blue, double check by going to the legitimate source that is real.
Yeah. And we're going into the season of online shopping. Plan ahead, please do your shopping, as soon as you can, because that's when you start getting into these rush situations and they start sending out these texts saying that your package is delayed, that your package is, back ordered or something. Click here to verify. And that's when you can start, panicking on some of these.
That's a really good point. A lot of these tips really depend on you having the presence of mind and being calm. If you're rushed and you get an email or text out of the blue saying there's a special deal on XYZ, you might be more apt to click on it because you're so worried about getting the right thing for that person on your list. But it's better to plan with calm and to take time. Another flavor of scam are these holiday job scams. A lot of retailers and companies are looking for, restaurants looking for extra help around the holidays. Well, and they actually will hire seasonal employees. Well, scammers are also posing as these retailers and restaurants and what have you, or shipping, depots, hiring seasonal employees. And they advertise fake jobs in the same way legitimate companies advertise, on Craigslist and what have you. And they go through really a careful process to try to get people to believe the job is real. That you might have an interview, they might ask you a lot of questions, they might have a Zoom with you, and then they will immediately ask for information from you. So here's some tips. Don't pay to get the job. Okay, this is where it takes a turn. So after the interview, they might promise you the job, but say, okay, but you have to pay for this startup fee to get this training. Or you're going to work from home, but can you give us money so we can send you the software to put on your computer to be a shipper, for example. Sometimes they say, oh, you can ship items from home. All you have to do is print the labels. No legitimate job is going to make you pay expenses or fees for training or anything else just to get the job. Anyone who asks you to pay anything to get the job is a scammer. Full stop. That's it. Do not pay to get a job. Never give out your personal information up front. So some scammers, you're going through the process of interviewing, what have you. They're going to try to get your credit card, your bank information, as your social security number as soon as you're in contact. If they're forcing you as soon as you're in contact, like right at the beginning, to get this personal information, that's a sure sign of a scammer. Usually when you get a job, if you need to do, let's say, you don't have to do direct deposit. You can get a physical check from a job sometimes, but they might ask you for, well, you would just need your bank account right now for direct deposit. If they're starting to rush you through giving this really personal information up front, that's a sign, that's a red flag. And see what others are saying. So you might want to post the job, search, again, this is a theme, search the job online with review, complaint, or scam. If other people have experienced the same thing, there will be complaints on it. They'll say, oh yes, this is a scam going around. My cousin was just contacted by this fake Macy's offering, this fake part-time job, but it wasn't real. And talk to someone you trust before taking a job offer or any business opportunity. Usually in talking through a trusted family member, they will ask you questions. You'll think of other questions to ask the other party. Usually the truth will come out somehow, and it'll help clear the air, figure out what's legitimate and what's not. So those are at least 3 prevalent holiday scams that we see.
Yeah. The other thing is, you were talking about the fake jobs. I haven't seen that one, but that I can totally see how, they would use the holiday season when, extra help is needed. But I can see somebody receiving that offer and say, like you said, right, send us some money to download the program or training or something. And you're thinking, oh, it's only $20. It's only, $30. And you might think it's not a big deal.
Right.
You're clicking and now they have all your information. Now they know that you're a real person willing to, give money. So that just kind of opens a door for additional scammers.
Right. Or it could be something that sounds legitimate. Like we need to run a background check, so you have to pay for it. No legitimate job offer is going to make you pay for that. They'll pay. That's the cost of their doing business. So those are just red flags to look out for.
All right. Thank you. And I know a few people just joined us. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please type them on the comments or on the chat. We have an expert with us. We have Maricela Segura, who's the regional director for the Federal Trade Commission's Western Regional Office in LA. So if you have any questions, maybe somebody who's a victim, you want to share their story, please go on ahead. But this is our chance to get some real tips and, just discuss. That's what we're here for. Maricela, I know everybody's going to start doing a lot of online shopping, right, for the holiday season. How can we verify that some of these online retailers or websites are legit before we make a purchase?
Yeah. So, some of the themes, like research the seller's name. If it's a website, research the seller's name, search that with complaint, scam, fraud, and, you can see if other people are complaining about it. Be careful with deals that look too good to be true, something that's severely discounted, but you can't find that discount anywhere else or even anything close to it ever. You want to do a little research, you can search the item. I don't know, if you're a handbag person or like a leather good person, I'm just thinking about those things that people buy and spend a lot of money for. You want to search that fraud, scam, and the price, and you might find other people had the same experience. Never buy anything from an online seller that doesn't allow you to pay with a credit card or a debit card, and is only asking that you pay through this like non-transferable immediate method. Again, distinguishing that situation from when you're in person, say at the farmer's market, and you're taking away those vegetables or the cream or whatever it is that you that's a different situation. You're in person, but when you're online, you don't know what's on the other side of that website. Again, check those URLs for typos. They're spoof websites. And just some general shopping advice. Maybe this isn't a scam or fraud, but you can really get in trouble. You want to make sure that you look at a seller's return and refund policies. You want to make sure that you know that if it's a final sale, that you're aware of that. And so really do a little bit of research to figure out whether you could return the item or not. Look at the cost of the product, plus try to figure out what shipping costs and fees are. Now, these shouldn't be hidden. You should be able to know what you're going to pay all in, and they owe you that information. But some retailers are not being upfront with this information. You're caught once you get to the checkout. The fees can be pretty hefty. There might be a really hefty shipping fee. There might be a really hefty stock fee or something, some added fee. So be aware of what you're going to pay. The other thing we're telling folks is to keep first and pay with those trusted methods, the credit card and debit card. Keep information about all your purchases. I've gotten in trouble like this, especially around the holidays. You're buying a lot of things from a lot of places. You have people who are giving you their wish list, and sometimes you lose track of where you bought what from. Keep the information about the company name and website. You may not always get an email confirming your purchase, but make sure you remember that you made a purchase, what you ordered, the date you ordered it, what you paid, and take note of when the item was supposed to be shipped. If the company says it's supposed to ship an item by a certain date, make sure you note that. Keep all email, text, or other communication from the retailer back and forth before you get the item, until you get that item. And check your credit card statement and bank statement. Sometimes this happens that you think you're making one purchase, but you end up enrolled in a subscription plan. And so what you want to do is just make sure, so this is another thing about the too good to be true deals. Sometimes there'll be a price for an item, like maybe it's some kind of a health item or skincare item, and you think you're just paying for that item. But what you don't know is that now you're enrolled in a club where you're going to get, the same thing month after month after month and be charged month after month. So again, sellers should be upfront with this, and they should tell you what you're going to pay, and they can't enroll you in subscriptions unless they give you clear and conspicuous, clear disclosures about it. But it happens. And I know I've been in the subscription trap where I didn't know I was subscribed to something. So you want to make sure you look at your credit card statements regularly and really interrogate those and see, is there something that you're not familiar with, a charge? And investigate it. And if you think it's fraudulent, dispute it with your bank.
Marisela, I'm seeing that now a lot, these subscriptions for basic items. I mean, you're buying dish soap or whatever, right? And all of a sudden you're before you know it, you're subscribing to things for, it could be anything. And yeah, you need to, before you click pay, make sure that there's no hidden subscription there, the shipping fees are legit. But yeah, now I can see that these companies are adding these subscriptions to just everyday purchases.
And as I mentioned, they have to be upfront with you and tell you very clearly. They don't always. And so then it puts us in a position of having to really know what our finances are. And we have to look at our bank accounts. We have to look at our credit card statements very carefully and make sure that there's not something there that we weren't expecting.
Yeah. Marisela, last year during this, time of year, there was a huge issue regarding gift cards. And, we were trying to, raise red flags and warn our members about the issues with gift cards. Is that still a thing? Is that still out there, a prevalent scam?
Yes, gift cards are a favorite way to transfer money for scammers. I mean, gift cards are often one of the most popular ways that we give to friends and family for the holidays. It's very easy and it's helpful, but they're also, as I mentioned, a favorite way for scammers to steal people's money. So and this is worth saying several times, and we will say it several times. If anyone demands that you pay them with a gift card for any reason, whatever it is, IRS, the gas company, a business, pay me with a gift card. Full stop, no matter what the story is, never pay with a gift card. That's a scam, straight up. If you want to give a gift of a gift card to a family member, that's fine. You want to buy those gift cards from the sources that you know and trust. There are auction websites that sometimes will list a gift card, $25 gift card for sale for $20, purporting to say, well, I have no use for this gift card, so I'll give it to you as a discount. Think twice before buying from those auction websites, because oftentimes those gift cards are fakes or they're stolen. And so you end up with a gift card that has zero money on it, or it's a stolen gift card. So just buy those gift cards from the trusted retailers or the sources that you know and trust. Inspect the gift cards before you buy. If you're at the retailer, they have to have all those protective stickers in place. And so if something looks off or like peeled back, report the card to the store if anything looks scratched or damaged, and don't take that gift card home with you. When you buy, save the receipt. Keeping the gift card receipt can be very helpful. If you run into problems with the card, you can go back to the retailer and tell them this card, I loaded $10 on this card, but when I gave it to my family member, there was $0. That happened to me. And so sometimes
that happened to me as well.
Yeah, and sometimes they can make it right. And then just treat those gift cards like cash. Report a lost or stolen gift card to the card issuer as soon as immediately. Most gift card issuers have a toll-free number where you can report lost or stolen cards. And depending on the card issuer, you may even be able to get some of that money back.
Yeah, it was crazy. Last year, I mean, that became a real issue. We use gift cards for everything, right? We think they're safe and better than mailing cash. And yeah, we were warned that that was a big issue. Let's see. What are some of the other emerging scams that you see out there? I know we were talking about artificial intelligence, which is scary, to me. Just imagine, I can't even imagine getting a phone call and hearing a relative that I know their voice, right? But what other scams do you see are
so we
popping
see
up?
these fake fraud alert scams. I mean, it's kind of weird that there's a fraud purporting to be a fraud alert, but scammers pretend to be your bank or other companies that and send you messages that say, there was a suspicious transaction on your account. They say call here for more, maybe they say call here for more information, and then give you a whole elaborate story about fraud using your identity. And they promise to help you. They might ask you for your bank account information, but instead what they're doing is trying to get that bank account information to drain your account. If the message comes to you by email or text, don't just click on the unexpected message that comes to you out of the blue talking about fraud on your account. If you think it might be legitimate, again, as we've said before, go straight to the company website or the bank website that you know and trust. If you already have an account established with the bank or Amazon or whatever it is, whatever company it is, log into the account that you know, your own account, and look at your account details to see if there's any mention of this fraud on your account. Call the number on the legitimate website. Talk to customer service. A lot of times you'll discover that message that came to you out of the blue was a scam. Don't click on the link. Don't engage with that number out of the blue. Go straight to the website that you know and trust. Go straight to your account. Log into your account to verify that it's truly a fraud alert. The other thing we see is
sorry, just want to add, that happened to me a couple of years ago with my business. For some reason, they got, my bank information, not bank information, but, some general details from my business. And I started getting all these fraud alerts on my, business account. And I forwarded, to, our CPA, and immediately it was just like fraud, right? So he immediately was like, nope, delete fraud.
I mean,
But
it's scary.
yeah,
Fraudsters know
yes,
what's going to catch our
yeah,
attention. So
uh-huh,
the fraudsters know what's going to catch our attention is that we're on
yeah,
alert for other fraudsters. It's really
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
a crazy twist on this
yeah,
being alert, right?
yeah, that it
Um,
might disrupt my payroll and right, me accepting. Yeah, it was scary. You're right.
Oh,
Yeah.
another thing that you've probably seen in business, and I've seen it personally, these fake invoices. Scammers will send a bogus invoice email about renewing a subscription or a membership you never signed up for. So one flavor of this is they might pretend to be from the Geek Squad, this Best Buy tech service, the Geek Squad. And the email will say they're going to charge you hundreds of dollars to renew your membership unless you call to cancel within 24 hours. If you call, which you should not do, this is an email that comes to you out of the blue about some purchase or invoice that you were not expecting. And I've gotten them for McAfee for the software that's supposed to
Mhm.
protect your computer. I get these fake
Yeah,
invoices all the
yeah,
time.
me
And it says,
too.
yeah. And so you
Yeah,
don't want to call that number. You don't want to click the link. If you think it might be legitimate, again, go to the trusted source, go to Best Buy and say, I got this email about this, Geek Squad account that are going to be charged for. Is it real? And, or, go to the official website, the chat or the customer
mhm.
service line, and you'll figure out that it's not real, that it's a scam.
Yeah, yeah, those firewall protections, yes, I would get them a lot and then I'd forward them. It's just, we don't even subscribe to that.
And they're
But
scary.
it's,
They're
yeah,
hundreds of dollars. It says you owe
uh-huh,
$600 and
yeah,
pay here, or we're going to
yeah,
take it out of your account unless you call and
yeah,
cancel. But what they want to do is try to get your personal
yeah,
information or your financial account.
yeah. Yeah, or that your site is vulnerable to scammers and attacks and yeah,
That's right. And then
absolutely.
they'll ask to log in to your
Mhm.
computer. Just click this
Yes,
link so we can
yeah,
log in to investigate what
uh-huh,
if your software is up to date, your virus protection is up to date. And what they've done is they gotten a backdoor into they take over your computer and they will try to steal kind of your personal information, or they'll demand a ransom be paid before they give you your computer,
mhm.
relinquish your computer. So what you don't want to do, you do not want to click on any links that come to you out of the blue.
Oh,
Um,
that's like so perfect. Absolutely. No matter what it is, if it's coming to you, just be, careful, search them afterwards, get the information on the company, but try not to click on those links. Yeah.
and don't go it alone. Talk to somebody. If you're not sure, you're scratching your head. My sister sends me these all the time. I send her the ones too. And so you have to have those family members or those people you trust that you can send this information back and forth and like ask them and talk through the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, if you joined us and you're, late, we're talking to Marisela Segura from the FTC. But please, if you have any questions, just write them on the comments, put them on the chat. Happy to answer all your questions right now. The other thing is if this has happened to you or you know someone who has gone through this, please, you're welcome to share their story. This is our time to engage. We're all in this together. Scammers are so sophisticated. I mean, they know exactly the buttons to push. This is their job, right? They know exactly how to motivate, how to drive, our interest and, manipulate our emotions. So please, it's not that you did anything wrong. It's just that we're human. They're just incredible. So that's what we're here, to talk through these things. So please, if you have any questions, this is, our opportunity to engage. And Marisela, let's say somebody unwilling, just happens to become a victim of a scam. What can we do? What are our options? What
Well,
should we
okay.
do?
Well, so if you paid through whatever method you paid, let's say you paid through Zelle or Venmo or even credit card, you want to report it immediately to your financial institution. You may be able to get your money back. You may be able to dispute the charge. If it's a bank transfer, you ask the bank to reverse the charges. If it's a wire transfer, you call MoneyGram, Western Union as soon as you know. If that's the only chance you have, you act fast. you know, if
Sorry,
you
so we can get our money back from the
you
wire?
may be able to. Some will try to make their customers whole if they were victims. The only chance you have though is if you do it immediately. Now, if it was a month ago, I mean, or weeks ago,
Yeah.
then that's just the money's gone. You can still dispute credit card charges though. You have a period of time, but through it, like they give you, 30 days, sometimes 60 days, and it's going to be well made very well aware to you from your bank. But other more kind of immediate transactions, they're starting to try to work with customers because they recognize it's just sometimes a platform by which fraud happens. So we're just telling folks to call immediately and report it to see if you can get that money back. If there's a money transfer app that like Zelle or Venmo and you linked it to a credit card, so it takes the money out of your credit card, also, call your credit card company and say, I sent this through Venmo, but it really came from the credit card. And so it was a fraudulent transaction. If you gave a scammer personal information, like your social security number, we have a website called identitytheft.gov. Go to identitytheft.gov to see what steps you can take to protect yourself. And they'll even tell you where to get a free credit report and how to monitor your credit report so that sometimes scammers will steal our social security numbers and our personal information because they want to open new accounts in our name. And so if you go to identitytheft.gov, it'll give you steps to follow so that you can get your credit report for free. You shouldn't have to pay for your credit report. And then you can monitor that. And just like you do with a credit card statement, you look at all the accounts that you have open. And it's really an interesting look. And just if there's something fraudulent, you can dispute it. If for some reason you gave out your password to a scammer, for whatever it is, this password to whatever, change your password and make sure you have strong passwords. Not something that would be easy to figure out, or if you're using the same password for multiple things, you got to change it up. Consider not using the same.
The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or password, right? And
right.
Marisela, you're talking about payment methods. What are some of the payment methods that reduce the risk of falling victim to scams?
So credit card, debit cards, which often work like credit cards, are probably the two safer methods because you're able to dispute. There's a mechanism to dispute through your bank. You're also able to see the charges because you get an itemized statement monthly. And so there is a period of time through which you have to dispute, and the charge will be put on hold. The bank will do a little research. They might ask for information from you about the purchase and about the retailer. They're going to ask the retailer for information. If it's a scammer on the other side of that charge, guess what they're not going to do? They're not going to engage with the bank. They're try to take the money and run. So a lot of times the banks will, when they see that it's a scammer on the other side, not answering questions, and they see what you've provided, they will try to make you whole.
All right.
And then finally, I just want to make sure I report it to us. The Federal Trade Commission, we take in fraud reports because what we do is we look at those to see what the trends are. That's how I get all this information to tell all of you what the top fraud trends are, because people are reporting the frauds they see. Even if you didn't pay money to the scammer, if you see something, say something. So report it at reportfraud.ftc.gov, or you could call us at 877 FTC help. And I know that someone's going to put this information into the chat from AARP.
And that's very good. If something happened to you, please, say something, because you may be warning others to watch out for that. So please be very careful. The other thing is that I want to share that there's another resource there. There's AARP Fraud Watch Network, which provides information and tools needed to protect you and your loved ones from frauds and scams. And you can visit the site at aarp.org/fraudwatchnetwork. So aarp.org/fraudwatchnetwork, or call 877-908-3360. That's 877-908-3360. And I know that, our friends at AARP are already putting that information on the chat and on the comments. So please, make sure you go there, to check on some of these sites that are
Absolutely.
available.
I mean,
Yeah.
these are the trusted, right? We are the trusted folks that you can talk to about frauds and scams that you see. We're working together, AARP and FTC, to get the word out. So whether you report it, to us, yes, we do want you to report it to us so we can see the trends, or you report it to your friends at AARP. We will just want to get the word out to the public.
Maricela, we have a question. Are Google and Apple wallets safe?
It depends. I mean, usually those are connected to your credit card, right? And so the credit card, you can dispute fraudulent charges made even if it's through the Apple wallet. If you load it with a gift card, I mean, I'm not actually sure if you can do that, load a Google or Apple wallet with a gift card. What I would just say is you want to make the form of payment like your credit card or your debit card. But what I also caution people, you don't want to give out your bank information so readily. It's better to have that intermediary credit card, because your bank information just kind of opens you up to all your bank accounts. Some people have their saving and checking linked. And so you really want to protect that information as much as possible. So if you can make a payment through some intermediary credit card, that then there'll be, that statement period where you can review the charges and then dispute it. That's often the easiest and the most safe way to do it. And what I've done with like an Apple wallet, I link it to a credit card. So it's not coming straight from my bank account, so that I can dispute the charge with the credit card company.
And Maricela, what percentage of scams are coming from outside the US? And is there any chance of us recovering money from those situations? You mentioned that if it's a credit card or possibly a debit card, there may be, but so what percentage of scams are outside of the US, and how can we recover if we've been a victim?
Yeah, I don't have the data on the precise percentage, like if it's like half the scams are offshore or not. What I can say is that yes, a lot of scammers are offshore. And that does prevent law enforcement like me from hauling them into court because they're not here in the United States. We can still sue a company that has a presence in the United States, whether or not we get the individuals who are abroad into a court. That's another story. We can't always haul people into court from overseas. It's very difficult. The ability to get money back through a lawsuit after the fact, if it's a true fraud, is difficult no matter what. I mean, I think chances are that once you're suing a scammy company, and we've done this, we've frozen assets and we try to get money back, but it's really sometimes pennies on the dollar, sadly to say, because scammers will spend it as soon as they get it. So your best bet is, if you think you might have been victim or you might have paid a fraud or a scam, don't wait, act immediately, complain, go to the financial institution that you used to send the money, even if it is one of those immediate sort of transfer methods, whether Venmo or Zelle or MoneyGram or TransUnion. They may be able to at least help you get some money back, but don't wait. And whenever possible, use one of those trusted methods.
Maricela, nothing says, season of giving like Black Friday and Cyber Monday. How can we identify or spot fake social media ads or deals that are coming around that season?
Well, so you're going to see lots of deals and lots of advertised great pricing on, Instagram, Facebook, what have you. Don't click on that. Maybe take note of the deal. Let's say it's something that you really want and you want that price for Black Friday. Go to the legitimate seller's website. If it's a real deal from Target, for example, it'll be available or it'll be noted on the website, or maybe you go in person to the store. But don't click on links that come to you out of the blue from on Instagram or Facebook. They can be easily faked. And so I just urge folks to go to legitimate sellers. If it's another not, let's say it's not an item hosted by a big box retail store that we know, do that research again. Research Instagram ad, all the little details from so-and-so about this, and see if other people have reported it. But in general, I would say don't click to purchase from links that come to you out of the blue from Instagram or Facebook. Go straight to, go open your browser and go to the website for the seller and try to find that deal there, because it will be there if it is real.
Yeah. You had, talked about these scams regarding package delivery, right? That you get text or emails regarding that we cannot deliver your package unless you verify you're at those, right? But how about real package delivery? Do you have any tips on how we can keep our packages safe from theft or
You want to be
anything we can do?
proactive. Yes, you want to be proactive. So if it's a delivery, if it's an item for delivery, and you're concerned that you're not going to be home, make it make it for signature. There's often a place where you can ask for specific delivery instructions. So you would say, require a signature before dropping. Don't drop at the front door. You want to track the package. Make sure you can see when it's going to be delivered. And if you can't be at home, ask somebody else to be at home. Ask a neighbor if you see that a package was dropped at your front door. But try to manage the delivery of the package whenever possible. If it's a really expensive item, it shouldn't just be something that a retailer like a jewelry store is going to drop at your front door. You can demand like a signature before you get it delivered, or you could have it delivered to, if you work in an office, you might have it delivered to your office because somebody's there to pick up the item and put it in your office, or you can have it pick it up at a depot or like a FedEx depot, as opposed to having it delivered to your front porch and drop there where you're not going to be. You could say deliver to this FedEx location near my house. A lot of times you can make these arrangements with the seller about how to ship and avoid having that package dropped off. But do be active with that tracking. Sometimes you can get up to the minute actual texts about where the package is in transit, and it'll tell you it's very close to delivery to your front door, and you can make your way there, or you can ask a neighbor to keep an eye out.
Yeah, and you see those lockers in different locations and grocery stores, and so that's another option,
Yeah, I sometimes will say ship it to the retailer store and I'll go pick it up, because then I know it's safe.
Yeah, lockers are available. We're getting close to the end of our conversation, Marisela. I know that you gave a ton of very useful information, but what are some of the key things that as consumers and as shoppers and people always looking for a good deal, what should we be watching out for this holiday season?
Well, one thing, another kind of flavor of fraud I want to give is this charity fraud. We're all going to be, it's a season of giving, and we're going to want to give back, and do a little research before you donate to charity. If you see a website, like let's say you're Googling how to, donate to hurricane relief victims, and you find a few websites that come up, you're going to want to, again, research that website. You might want to research the name of the website or the organization and complaint, fraud, scam to see if others have complained about it. You can research charities with trusted organizations, like, for example, BBB, Better Business Bureau, bbb.org/charities. They will have a list of trusted charities. These are charities that have been vetted and known to be real. There's also a website called charitynavigator.org, which will also list trusted charities that are real. Check the charity's website. Even if it is an actual charity, they see if you could figure out if it provides details about the programs that they support with your money. Does it tell you how much of the funds that you give it will go directly to those programs that you're interested in? Sometimes charities give a small percentage of the funds we donate to the thing that we want the money to go to, and a larger percentage goes to operational costs or some other aspect of their charity. So do try to do a little bit of research. Find out if the donation is tax deductible. The IRS keeps a list of tax exempt organizations. Don't let anybody rush you into making a donation. Consider every donation you make and do the research first. If somebody says that you're going to win a prize by giving a donation, like a sweepstakes entry in exchange for a donation, stop. That's a scam. That's an age-old technique used by scammers. They pose as a charity and say, oh, you're going to be also entered into the sweepstakes and you have a great opportunity to win this. That's not how charities work. It's a scam. Whatever you do, do not pay with gift cards. Do not pay with money transfers or cryptocurrency. Legitimate charities will allow you to pay by credit card or other means. If they're asking you to pay these non-stoppable methods, it's a sure sign of a scam. And I guess I also want to mention one thing, crowdfunding sites like GoFundMe, Indiegogo, these sites where they're collecting money for somebody. A few tips. Don't assume that the request is legitimate just because a friend posted it on social media. You can always ask your friend about the information they shared on social media. Don't click straight through and donate just because your friend posted it on Facebook. Also, donations to like GoFundMe, those don't automatically go to the charity, they go to the organizer. You want to make sure you know and trust the organizer, that the organizer is going to pass the money along to the organization, because GoFundMe doesn't make sure that happens. It's the organizer themselves who collects the donations, and they're the ones responsible for passing it along. So that's another reason why taking a beat before clicking on those Facebook posts that maybe friends and family put up about a GoFundMe page, taking a moment not to just quickly give. And again, talk to somebody before you do it. Take your time to really think about what charities you want to give to and make sure that they're legitimate.
Absolutely. And these charity appeals, I mean, you see them, of course, year round, right? But at the same time, during the season, for Thanksgiving, for year end, right? You get this, flurry of emails asking you to donate before, for tax reasons before the end of the year. And so, thank you so much. That's wonderful information. I really, really, truly thank you, Marisela, for providing such useful information and for helping us keep our little dinero protected. Thank you so much. You made us, open our eyes. So, and of course, a reminder to our guests that all the resources can be found on the FTC website. And there's, all the information that was shared on the comments. And once again, that this is being recorded so you can watch it later. And of course, you can also visit aarp.org/fraudwatch network. And once again, the phone number is 877-908-3360. I want to thank all of you for joining us today. These are our monthly chats, and we chat with financial experts across the state who help us grow and keep our money, including Marisela. So thank you so much, Marisela, for all the, the great advice you gave us. We talk about asset protection, debt management, caregiving costs, retirement planning, entrepreneurship, and much, much more. Visit us online to register and watch videos on demand of all our previous conversations. You can go to aarp.org/Let's Talk Dinero. And I invite you to join us on Monday, November 25th at 4 p.m. for our next Let's Talk Dinero with AARP, where we're going to talk about how to save money on energy bills. So we've come to the end of our chat. Thank you, Marisela. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you on November the 25th. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.